Welcome to Cox and Wills. Welcome to the Shane Show. We are Tangled Rights.
I'm tangled. He's right.
I'm rights. I have some. I know that really irritates prosecutors, but I've got them. They hate that. They dislike due process, and they really don't like the Fourth Amendment.
What is that word you said? Fourth Amendment?
Fourth Amendment. Due process.
I don't know what that is.
Fourth Amendment means that you are free from unreasonable searches and seizures in your person, papers, and effects.
Okay.
Don't touch my stuff, Mr. Cox. I got you. Today is episode
56.
Something.
56.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Tangled Rights. We're here. We're your hosts, Justin W. Wilson. I am Shane D. Cox. We're the owners and founders of Cox and Wilson Law Firm. You'll see here. And we operate in the Las Vegas Valley.
We bought that from Bangladesh.
I think it was shipped from India, New Delhi.
Oh, I thought it was Bangladesh.
Yeah. Oh. No, New Delhi.
Either way. Very nice. How much?
So
it wasn't that bad though, wasn't it? It was like decently priced.
Yeah, like $200 or $300.
But we got a couple, didn't we?
We got three of them, $900 between the three. The one's the big one of the CW logo.
Did you? Oh yeah, he also started making shirts for us.
Yeah. There you go, vinyl baby.
Hell yeah, or heck yeah. Sorry, dude.
Hell's good. It's in the Bible, right?
Only if you're talking about the place.
Yeah. Which we
like
were.
If you say you're going to hell, then that's fine. But if you say hell yeah, that's an expression of excitement. That is not fine. I remember the rules from Sunday school.
Okay.
I just don't follow them.
We are two attorneys in the Las Vegas Valley. We're not intending to create a legal relationship by means of this podcast. If you do want to contact us, hire us, give us a call, 702-805-8500. Cox and Wilson Law. Do criminal law, personal injury, in mostly Las Vegas and
you just
Kansas.
Gave our phone number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a bench trial coming up on the 6th in Kansas.
I know. I'll be here. All right. We talk about criminal law. If it's your first time here, if it's not, welcome back. We talk about legal issues. We talk about criminal cases. And a lot of these criminal cases really teach us about rights and laws and what the state can do in prosecuting you, what you can do to help yourself if you're ever facing charges. The first one I want to tackle today is one out of the city of Wahlberg, North Carolina.
Named after the famous Mark Wahlberg.
It's not. If you don't know where Wahlberg, North Carolina is, I have been in this county and been in this area and I didn't know what it was. It's a very, very small town that I don't even think is technically its own town, but it's just outside of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And if you know me, you know I love minor league baseball. So I do have a minor league baseball hat for the city of
Yellow Jacket driving
Winston-Salem. This is a tobacco beetle.
Oh, okay.
So it is like a beetle that there's something called like cigarette beetles that can get in cigarettes. So this is a tobacco beetle. Winston-Salem is...
What a dumb place to go if you're an insect. You get inside of a cigarette, hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
It's sold, packaged. Somebody picks it up and lights it on fire with you inside. Okay. What a dumb animal.
So if you know anything about Winston-Salem, they're the birthplace of two very healthy things, Krispy Kreme donuts and a big cigarette manufacturing. So... interesting enough, right by the capital furniture of the world of High Point, North Carolina as well, and Thomasville, North Carolina, if you've ever heard of those. So this is a tobacco beetle.
High Point? High Point, like those really terrible pistols?
No, I don't know if they get the same name.
Hold on.
High Point. You can look it up. It's a very cheap brand of pistols as well.
Garbage.
High Point is the furniture capital of the world.
Great for throwaway guns.
Piedmont Triad, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, birthplace of Krispy Kreme donuts. But yeah, this is a black hat with some orange dots of a beetle driving an old like Model T. Who knows why?
Because
it's fun. I like it.
They would obviously do that.
Okay. So, Justin, let me tell you about this case.
Hold on 1 second.
All right, go ahead.
I'm trying to find this thing. I'm on the High Point website. It, for some reason, sent me straight back to Google. Welcome to High Point Firearms, yada,
but
yada,
that's
yada.
H-I
yes,
point, right? Not like H-I-G-H.
It's H-I-point.
In Mansfield, Ohio is what I'm seeing.
Oh, sad.
So different company.
Whatever.
High Point's just the name of a city.
Fine.
Are we good?
We're good. Continue
Are we good?
with whatever it was you wanted to talk about today.
About actual, legal
This
stuff.
stuff we're actually
So
talking
a
about.
guy by the name of Jason Corbett, okay?
Okay.
He is from Ireland. You've heard of Ireland?
I have.
They have
Some of my ancestors are from
They
there.
have different accents than us Americans. Okay. So Jason Corbett
We
had,
call them funny talkers.
yeah, whatever. They speak a different brand of English, I guess.
A brand of English.
So he had 2 kids. Okay.
Mhm.
2 young kids. His wife passed away from heart issues. Okay. Heart failure in Ireland.
That sucks.
He hired an au pair to take care of his children.
Okay, it's like a nanny that comes from another place and you go through a company.
She's originally from North Carolina. Okay. She goes out to Ireland to watch the kids.
She goes to Ireland.
So they fall in love, I guess. Sometimes that happens in relationships. So,
I mean, like American chicks seem to fall for that Irish accent. Like my experience with dudes that
and
I played rugby with.
alcoholism.
Well, I mean, the dudes I played rugby with were in college. I don't know if they're alcoholics or not, but they did
Irish
have
people,
Irish
Irish
accents.
people,
Yeah,
yeah,
Irish
that's-
dudes. They just start talking and girls would be like, "Oh my god." It's like, "Bro, this is stupid. You just said like regular words and she likes that. Like when I say regular words, they run from me." Yeah.
So this is obviously, there's an age gap in this relationship, whatever. There's some interesting things going on. Sometimes we see this and this turns out badly. This is one of those times. Okay. You ready?
I mean, we don't talk about
You
happy
ready?
cases, bro.
We
talk
never
people
talk
getting-
about
we talk about
then
people
they
getting
lived-
murdered.
Then they lived happily ever
No,
after.
they fell in love.
That's not-
They met across country lines and everything was great. No, someone got murdered.
That's not the story here either. So,
All right.
Jason Corbett and Molly Martins fall in love, get married. Okay.
For some reason, Molly Martin sounds like it should be Irish, whereas Jason
Molly
sounds-
Martins, Jason
Molly
Corbett.
Martins.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No,
continue. They
it's
fall in
not
love, get married.
Mick Martins or anything like that. They fall in love.
Wow. Whoa.
Isn't that an Irish name?
Yeah,
Why
you're
is that-
racist.
How is that racist?
I don't know.
Okay. I didn't think it was.
Nationalist?
You're not the.
What's a
That's just-
linguistist?
Oh, Martins.
Oh,
And Mick. Aren't those like common Irish
yeah, like O'Malley.
prefixes?
Shout out, Dodge Durango.
Only a few select.
That's
I don't
fine.
think any
The
listeners will
ones
know
that'll
what
get
we're
it will
talking about.
know.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man.
So Jason and Molly fall in love. Molly's family's back in North Carolina. Her dad was conveniently an FBI agent, retired FBI agent. Okay.
Brilliant.
Note that for the future. Jason never allows Molly to adopt the children. Okay. So they're
That's fine.
legally not her children.
Okay.
They move to North Carolina.
The whole family.
The whole family,
Okay.
husband, wife, and then 2 children / stepchildren moved to North Carolina. He has a decently paying job, not a multimillionaire by any stretch of the imagination.
How is
but
he able to work in the
upper-
States?
because they had a company that opened from Ireland into the United States. So he actually, started there. So kind of interesting.
Okay.
I think family lives outside of DC, which makes sense with his in-laws. His in-laws live outside of DC.
Yeah,
So a
'cause
few hours away, but not-
Langley.
yeah, FBI stuff. So there are accounts that Jason and Molly's relationship is fractured to a certain extent. They're having some fights. They're having some battles. There's some text messages that come out that says Jason, is frustrated with Molly. He thinks she's going crazy. He's ready to move up and pick up and move to Ireland with his kids. Okay.
Yeah,
Because they're his kids, not her kids, although she feels a certain relationship with them, right?
I think I see where this is going now.
I don't know if
like
you,
it.
I don't know if you do or not. And it doesn't, not the kids. They're not going to die.
Okay, good.
Okay. We're leaving it open as to who's dying here.
Dun,
Right?
dun, dun.
This was a new Netflix special. So if you want to watch this on Netflix, I'd recommend it. That's why I want to talk about it. I know there's some questions about it. There's some legal aspects of this that become interesting as well. Although a lot of comments are saying the Netflix special doesn't do it justice. It's just an hour and a half. There's a podcast that came out like a year ago on this. I'll have to look up the name and plug it in to the notes that does like 10
dive.
hours on this.
Deep
A
dive.
lot more interesting, has a lot more details that makes this story even more insane. But I'll give you the Cliff Notes, Justin, just so we can set up, the criminal case that's to come. So one day in the middle of the night, father-in-law, Thomas Martins, calls the police. Okay.
Molly's dad.
Calls 911. Molly's dad, Jason's father-in-law. Okay. They don't have the same last name, which is, might mix you up there.
I'm confused by that because I know that Mr. Cox is watching us.
And he's my father-in-law and has the same last name as me.
Praise him.
That's weird, right?
Praise him.
So Thomas calls and Thomas Martins calls the police and says, my son-in-law Jason was threatening my daughter. He said he was going to kill her, and I think I killed him. Okay. Former FBI agent. Okay. Calls. Police come out to the scene. Jason is in fact deceased. Okay. Has an autopsy done.
I think I definitely killed him.
Pictures taken at the house. There is blood spread out in multiple rooms throughout the house.
How did he die?
Blunt force trauma.
Ooh, so he was beat to death. That's what blunt force trauma means, folks.
He was beat to death. The autopsy came back. They said that he was hit so many times they couldn't even count the number, but it's in excess of dozens of times. Yeah. So many, many times. Okay.
Ugh.
So Thomas and Molly admit that they are the ones that commit this homicide. Okay. Maybe not a murder. And define what the difference between homicide and murder is, because that's an important distinction that we make in law. Those two words are very different.
Homicide is a death where somebody else is involved. But that covers murder, it covers manslaughter, and it also covers justifiable killings, right? So, for example, murder, intentional killing of another human being with malice aforethought. Self-defense is something that homicide is the umbrella. And then underneath the umbrella are the different places that homicide can go to. Like Plinko from The Price is Right. You drop the ball at the top and where it ends, right? But you go through self-defense, and that gets you away from murder. So that's the difference, is that every murder is a homicide, but not every homicide is a murder.
Okay. Every square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square.
Correct.
Okay. And
no triangles are circles.
I think that's right.
Whoa!
Good job.
Call me Mr. Geometry over here.
Wow, I thought I was the one with the math major, but all right. So eventually, both Thomas and Molly get charged with second-degree murder in North Carolina. Second degree. They seemingly had no elements for a first degree of any planning.
Sure. Didn't plan it, but they also didn't stop beating him after he went from this room to that room to that room, running from them as they're beating the shit out of him with clubs.
Maybe we should step in here. A lot of people hear about this as first degree, second degree, maybe some states third degree. In Nevada, we have what's called open murder. Do you want to talk about the differences between those, just to help some of our listeners know what the difference is?
The differences between the degrees?
Or the charging, how the charging works. Is like Nevada open, where the jury can decide, versus...
So a first degree or a second degree, the typical difference is that a first degree is pre-planned and a second degree is an intentional murder that is not pre-planned. So I come into the room right now without the intention of killing Shane. Shane pops off, as he does, and this time I've had it. And so I take this Tangled Rights mug and I'm like, I'm going to tangle your rights, bud. Bam! Smack him in the head and he dies. I didn't come into this room wanting to kill him. It happened. I intentionally did the thing, but it's not that I was planning, hey, Shane's been popping off a lot lately. When I get in there today, I'm going to pop off. You feel me? So that's the difference between second and third.
And the prosecution has to prove every element of that.
Correct.
Beyond a reasonable doubt.
But there are sometimes lesser included. Right. So then that'll get you your first degree, gets you your second degree, because the thing that you're not including in the second degree is that intentional, the premeditation of it, right? It's an intentional act, but you didn't think about it before, right? It's intentionally and it's planned, or it's intentionally and I thought about it before I knew I was going to do this.
And then in Nevada, you can just have it be open murder and define. Some states you can define both and tell the jury, hey, you get to check a box of first or second, whereas some states you have to choose.
Correct.
Like you have to choose which one you're going for. From reading North Carolina's, it looks like the prosecution had to choose and chose second.
Which oftentimes will happen because it's a lower burden.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's still a hefty punishment.
And it's what, 25 to life probably most of the time?
Probably.
Or 20 with parole after, or 10 to life with parole eligibility after 20 years or some crazy crap like that. But the difference there is that like proving that premeditation, you need something.
If there's text messages or
Like,
something.
who was that lady that keeps defending herself that you love?
Oh yeah.
Lori Vallow.
Lori Vallow.
So they've got so much evidence that, you know, she planned stuff. She went around doing things like stuff that happens after the fact, right? Whereas if you've got a situation where somebody intentionally kills somebody but didn't plan on it, they immediately call the cops. They're like, oh my God, like what? I just did this and I can't believe it. It doesn't erase their culpability.
Yeah.
But it does potentially mitigate their culpability from first to second.
Right. And it reminds me, we were in prison recently talking to somebody about a murder that he had admitted that he committed and was kind of telling us some of the
He was telling us
details,
walking us. He talked about the murder, but he also talked about afterwards and how like fragmented his memory of it was.
Yeah,
which is fair. It was a really traumatic situation.
Brains shut down in those kind of situations.
He killed somebody that I'm sure he cared about.
Yeah,
might have had problems, but he definitely loved her at some point.
Yeah,
and so it's just a nutty thing. I can't imagine stabbing my ex-wife.
Yeah.
Or
anybody
wife that I'm getting ready to get divorced from, whatever, right?
Whatever the situation is. Or
I mean, I can imagine stabbing a lot of people, just not those people. Not Mr. Cox. Not Mr. Cox. I would never.
You've never met him, have you?
Which is your fault. I've been begging Shane to meet you. Every time you're in town, I'm like, oh, can I meet Mr. Cox now?
He didn't, I don't think.
What?
Which we have some winners we've contacted privately.
You didn't want to meet me? It's just like my first dad.
My bio
he didn't
dad,
want me either.
My bio dad didn't want me either.
But I got a stepdad who's dope.
Partner's father, my father-in-law, because we're partners-in-law too, right?
My father-in-law. Nobody wants me. It's like that scene from Fresh Prince. That real, like the only touching scene from that whole show where his dad leaves and he's talking to Uncle Phil and he's like acting like he's mad and he goes, why doesn't he want me, man? And his voice breaks. Dude, that's when you knew Will Smith was going to be somebody. Cause I was like, ugh. Yeah. As a little kid, I was like, oh, I want to give him a hug. Yeah. It's so sad. I don't really care.
You're related to that. Okay.
No, I mean, I don't really care.
We're unpacking some things
I don't care, Mr. Cox. You don't have to like me. I like you just fine.
Hey, some fathers-in-laws might kill their son-in-law, you know. So
for hours.
Be careful.
Might beat him for hours.
Well,
in every room in the house.
So this case does proceed to trial. And an incredibly interesting aspect of this case is the two kids are young. You know, they're under 10 years old. The day of the murder, so later that day, they get interviewed by like a special North Carolina children advocacy group. Okay, comes and talks to them. And these are interesting to watch. It's being recorded. These are always interesting in cases and very sensitive, obviously, like extremely sensitive because they try to
because his dad was just murdered and he might have gotten to see it.
Kids don't know, like they're not adults and can process these things normally. Not as good to deal with death because they don't understand it. So they become friends, you know, these crisis response like advocates and social workers, whatever they are, come and talk to these kids. And the kids' responses, we'll have to find these and clip these in because even this little kid who's like 8 years old, like gave a very eloquent response about like, yeah, well, my dad would attack my mother and she would defend herself. Like really well spoken about, especially for that age and having kids that age. I'm like, I feel like my kids are smart and they like test well. And
but they never tell about you attacking.
But they
Hannah?
never, well, because it doesn't happen. But like, but like just the way they worded it was like very interesting. So the Netflix special focuses on
what's it called?
The Father-in-Law. It's like the Great American Murder or something like that.
What a stupid name.
I don't know. I can't remember. It focuses on this FBI, you know, he's an FBI agent. So he obviously has more of an intimate knowledge of what a police, you know, response to a murder might look like. Maybe he hasn't dealt with that specifically, but he knows, hey, where are they looking? What are they looking for a suspect? What does a self-defense case look like?
Sure.
So they end up going to trial and both get convicted of these murders. Okay. a very important piece of evidence doesn't come into the case. The kids' statements never come into the case.
How does that not come in?
Okay. The trial judge decided to not have them in. Okay. Yes.
That's valuable for the self-defense claim.
Yes. So this gets appealed after
And
they're convicted.
It's granted.
And these convictions get overturned because of those statements. Okay.
Oh shit.
And then the kids come out later because now they've aged a little bit because an appellate process isn't immediate. A murder trial is not immediate. So now they're teenagers, they're going into their teenage years, and they're providing interviews for this. The criminal defendants are providing, interviews for this. So that's why this one's kind of weird, is because the criminal defendants are giving interviews in this Netflix special. I watch a lot of these, like 2020 and all these, and they don't usually, you kind of know where things are going because they're never interviewed during this TV show. And on this one, they're getting interviewed and talking about things. And it's extremely bizarre. So the kids are now older, and they're telling they're telling prosecutors, our grandpa or our step grandpa and our stepmom were telling us to say this. The only reason that we said these things is because they told us to say that our dad was beating our mom, but he was not. So even after the appeal, so the appeal does go forward.
And then they retry it.
And then they take a deal, okay? The prosecution's worried about how the defense might spin it. So they both end up taking manslaughter deals. So
You can't spell laughter.
So man's laughter. Yeah,
Man's laughter.
Not funny.
Not funny.
Not funny. So they have had a lot of time served already. Right. So they serve like another year or so, and then they get out. And then in the meantime of all this, there's some fight over the children, but pretty clearly, the kids are even Irish nationals. They're not even American citizens. So their aunt gets custody of them. The father had written up basically a will of sorts saying that was his intention, is that the aunt would take the kids and not his wife, which is incredibly weird in its own right. So the kids do go with their aunt, move to Ireland, which was the father's, intention. So there's arguments that, the intention of the wife at the time, the stepmom, Molly, was that she would be able to get custody of these kids if it was some sort of accidental death.
Accidentally got beat to death for 4 hours.
There's a lot of theories online about people. I think the prevailing theory is that maybe Molly got so upset she did in fact attack Jason and killed him, and then she called her dad to come help her.
And then her dad's going to go to prison.
And then her
also.
dad came in and kind of did a cleanup job, kind of made a plan of what they were going to do before calling the police. And then he would say that he's the one that, dealt the blows. So, there's a lot of facts on these that you're not going to see. We'll never know.
Molly sounds
we
like
don't have
she'd
this
be
omniscient,
a lot of fun.
Yeah, we don't have this omniscient view, and that's something I also want to mention. When this case is done, when they've served their time, that's it. They can't go back. So Thomas and Molly give interviews, and everybody kind of sees and thinks that they're very arrogant, that they're very self-absorbed, and they're kind of pleading their case to their stepchildren and step-grandchildren to give them a chance and have a relationship with them. Meanwhile, these kids are saying, no, we know that you killed our dad.
Then told us to lie.
And then told us to lie and convinced us to lie about it. Evidence. The evidence was important in this case, and it was enough where that piece of evidence scared the prosecution, to kind of completely flip their script. And they've been in prison.
It makes it better for the prosecution.
Well, the statements are okay, but then they have kind of the rebuttal of the kids later saying that. So they'd have to come in as witnesses. They didn't testify at all in the first case.
But that shows more intent. I think that might get you to first degree because it's the cover-up shows that you potentially did it on purpose.
It does. And we're not privy. They did interview the district attorney, and there's always something worrisome or troublesome about, bringing a case to trial. You never know if it's going to
it's tough.
be guilty or not, because
That's not the
I know it's not their concern, but they've spent all that time. Is there a thought of, man, if they're acquitted, now we get like a wrongful, imprisonment claim against us?
No.
That shouldn't be the factor that they consider. But is that a factor?
I don't think so.
That's okay.
Not something I never considered myself with.
And maybe they don't. I don't. When these cases are so public,
That's because I knew I was going to win, though.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, what a left turn there.
Because I only took cases to trial that were just.
Okay. All right.
I dismissed cases left, right, and center that were not just, for whatever reason. I enjoy the Fourth Amendment. I like to be protected in my person's papers, effects.
Yeah, that's what everyone thinks. And then they think that the cops are just when they deal with people, and then you get on the other side of it and you realize
I know they're not.
That's probably not
I knew
true.
they weren't as a prosecutor. I just knew that sometimes they were. Even a blind pig finds a nut once in a while.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. It's just an us versus them. They're the criminals. And you become a criminal defendant. And you're like, why me?
Sometimes I've been in a criminal. I deserved it every single time.
First time accused. You're just like, that doesn't make any sense. So this case has no happy ending, as I figured might happen in something like this. So, all right, let's move on to more happy topics.
I didn't make any jokes.
I know
with
you
what
didn't.
You just said. I want you to know that.
It's not like us. We're going to have a happy ending, me and you, Justin.
Hey.
All right.
Watch out, Hannah.
Yeah, I have another one.
There's some competition.
I have another one I want to talk about, which I thought was interesting. Have you heard of the Baker Act in Florida?
Nope.
Okay.
They make it mandatory to have confectionery stores on every block.
No, what is Baker? Is that a candy store of some sort? I've never heard of it.
Baker is
like
a bakery.
You said confectionery. That's candy, isn't it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Confectionery to me is could be candy, any baked good, I thought.
Sometimes the state in their
Put your hand
wisdom.
flat on the table.
This is the state of Florida.
What would you do if I just cracked him?
The state of Florida. Most people have heard of this, and this happens in a lot of states, doing psych holds on people. So in Florida, it's called the Baker Act, and that is where a doctor can sign some sort of affidavit to make a person go into a psych hospital.
72 or a 96-hour hold. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a girl by the name of Demarie Lopez. She's got married since, so Hadley is her new last name. And she got Baker acted.
She got bakered.
She got bakered. Okay. She
had probably what they call it is a Baker hold.
Baker hold. I don't know what they'd call it.
I would guess.
This is in Florida.
Florida.
She is now suing the doctor's office that did this, okay? Because she is saying, and her medical records look like they support the fact that she had no reason to have anybody think that she was a psych risk at all. So the body cam footage has come out now of their interactions, the police, with this person, and she seems completely normal. And she's saying, what is going on? What are you talking about? Like,
was she experiencing hysteria?
I didn't even see. It doesn't look like that at all. Like, this looks completely normal. We will insert the video here. You be the judge.
Welcome back. It's called the Baker Act. Under state law, people can be forced into a facility for a mental health evaluation if, among other reasons, they are a danger to themselves or others.
But in a new lawsuit, a South Florida woman says that she was held in mental institutions for nearly 2 weeks for no legitimate reason. And she shared body camera video that she says proves her case and raises questions about how this law meant to protect people can be implemented. NBC6 investigative reporter Amy Batteri takes a closer look.
Prevent me from leaving the room.
The incident started on March 27th of last year.
So legally, I can't go home.
No.
Why?
Body camera video shows Broward Sheriff's deputies met on the side of the road in Dania Beach.
Hello. How's it going? How's it going?
By this man.
I'm waiting for a car to go by. There's a girl driving it. She's like a kind of mentally unstable person.
BSO has not responded to inquiries about who called the deputies there, but it appears they're taking direction from the man in the gray t-shirt.
She's heading over here right now. Her or? Yes, they have a GPS on her.
He asks deputies to follow him to a nearby parking lot once she arrives.
I have a doctor, Dr. Boba from Hollywood Memorial Hospital, who's over there right now waiting for her to show up, and he's going to bake her out.
And when I showed up, it obviously was not an estimate.
Demore Hadley says she was lured to that parking lot by someone posing as a potential client for the landscaping company she runs with her then boyfriend, now husband. But according to her lawsuit, when she showed up, she was approached by several people.
We're going to take her.
Including Dr. Daniel Bober, the chief of psychiatry at Memorial Regional Hospital, who also runs a private practice and has been featured as a mental health expert on media outlets, including NBC6.
I already knew I had intuition. Something is not right here.
Deputies also had questions for those present, at least at first.
Who are you guys?
So we're a mobile crisis team working with Dr. Boba from Hollywood Memorial Hospital.
Okay.
Memorial Healthcare tells us there is no mobile crisis team affiliated with the hospital, and Dr. Bober did not respond to our inquiry. We found the people seen here, James Fondo and Stephen and Jessica Cady, are actually owners of Sig9, a private security company. The men, both former high-ranking BSO officers, according to their bios.
Am I being detained?
For now, you're being detained.
The Baker Act, which Dr. Bober was citing, allows a physician to order someone they've examined in the previous 48 hours be held against their will in a mental health facility if they pose a risk to themselves or others, and the doctor can ask law enforcement to take them there.
He's not my doctor. He's never seen me in my life.
A concern Demore raises several times in the video.
He's a doctor. He's part of the mobile crisis unit.
I've never spoken to him.
I don't care.
And she also says he never examined her. On the Baker Act paperwork, Dr. Bober certified he did that exam at 5:56 p.m. that day. The same time, video shows them all still in that parking lot. He diagnosed her with an unspecified psychosis, adding she was a risk to herself.
I have 3 different collateral sources of information that say that she's been acting psychotic, that she threatened to overdose yesterday.
What he told me was, we received a call from your family that you tried to OD the night before, and you're being Baker acted. And my question was like, what are you talking about?
Experts tell us it's common for doctors to take families' concerns into account, and ultimately the decision to Baker Act someone is up to the healthcare professional on scene. In the lawsuit, Demore says she has no mental health history and does not use illegal drugs. She also shared records from Memorial Regional showing drug test results from that day were negative.
I have concerns about how all of this happened.
Attorney Hilton Napoleon is representing Demore in the lawsuit she filed this month, alleging she spent nearly 2 weeks falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act, a similar law that allows involuntary substance abuse treatment. She claims it all stems from an ongoing dispute between Demore and her own mother, who denies the allegations, saying in a motion to dismiss the lawsuit that the family attempted to get help out of concern for her daughter's physical and mental well-being.
I've been practicing law for 20 years and I've never seen a case like this before.
Demore's lawsuit claims deputies never verified the identity of the individuals on scene and took their word despite Demore repeatedly voicing concerns. In a statement, Sig9 says they were engaged by a licensed mental health professional to assist with a voluntary transport for psychiatric evaluation to avoid the need for law enforcement intervention.
So I can't drive myself?
No, you're going to have to go with them.
Video shows Demore asked to be transported by deputies and was told this.
I can't ride with you and you guys take me?
You're going to be in handcuffs, so dog's not going to be able to come?
No, I don't want to be handcuffed.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to wait. We're going to take you to their vehicle.
A deputy encourages Demore to get into this truck.
You can't just force a woman into a dark gray truck without validating or verifying the story that's being told.
A BSO spokesperson says the incident is now under review.
I don't think I've ever felt so alone and unseen and unheard in my whole entire life.
Memorial Healthcare tells us they can't talk about this case because of the pending lawsuit. Dr. Bober told us initially he couldn't discuss the case because of privacy restrictions. Then Demore provided a release allowing him to speak with us, but so far we have not heard back. In a statement, Sig9 denied the allegations, adding, "Our role was limited, lawful, and conducted in good faith under the direction of a licensed physician." Again, Demore's mother denies any wrongdoing, claiming her actions are based on legitimate concern. Coming up tomorrow, we take you inside this legal fight involving some wild allegations. Amy Viteri, NBC6 News.
Yeah, so from what me telling you and you actually seeing this video, I think we'll just include this whole video. It's
Where
like,
was this happy part?
This
is
not
going to be a happy
no,
thing?
I said there's no more happy stories. This is all, we're just all sadness. We're just eternal.
This is not sadness. This is bullshit. I'm
Eternal
sorry,
sadness.
Mr. Cox. I'm leaving that one. But like, That's ridiculous.
I know. It sounds like you're like, I'm sure she doesn't have anything. That's like your initial reaction, right? And then you see,
watch it and she's
this
perfectly
is a normal.
She was acting way more calm than I would have been. You're not putting those cuffs on me, bud.
Yeah.
That's not happening. And when you're done not doing that, I'm going to get a hold of that guy right over there and grab him by his fucking neck. And you want to see psychotic? I'll show you.
Okay, well,
what is
wound you up.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? And this is why I want to talk about it, because you have a where's my Fourth Amendment right? Like, where
it wasn't there? Whatever county that was in Florida, they didn't have it that
this
day.
This is the state, and this is a law in the state, so they're allowed to do this if signed by a cop. And maybe there's a prosecution. Signed by a doctor. Sorry, my bad. Signed by a doctor. So maybe there's a claim against him for making some sort of false report. I don't know if there's...
There should be a criminal charge brought against him, because I know every state has false reporting laws.
And the cops, I think they have to accept for value, They're
not doctors. So they got to do what they got to do.
What comes from the doctor? I'm saying they're accepting what the doctor
but
gives
also
them. A little due diligence?
A little bit. Like if they look at because I'm sure they have to put the paperwork in their paperwork saying, hey, we transported this person at the direction of Dr. Fourth Amendment violator. At the direction of Dr. Him, and you look at the report, it says he examined her while we were standing there next to him. No, he didn't. You know how I know? I was there, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, the timing element is...
No. So sue everybody. Sue the doctor, sue the stupid company, sue the hospital, because I guarantee you they're lying too, and sue the police department. Sue the city while you're at it, and the governor.
Okay. All right. I mean, this law has the potential to have this effect where it violates your Fourth Amendment rights. But
it's like a human red flag law.
Because she's being detained against her will. Like, she cannot leave, right? This is a detention, right?
I'd call it incarcerated.
By the state. But
yes,
an incarceration is a detention.
What we just watched, she's just being detained.
Yes.
But later, it gets more. It's worse. Like to me, and I understand what you're saying, incarceration, detention, the same thing. But to me, a detention is like, hey, you're being detained right here.
On the side of the road or whatever.
You're just going to have to wait. And whether you're in cuffs or they just say, hey, you're not free to leave. Versus once you get put inside of a room with a locked door that you are not able to unlock.
That's an incarceration. That's a higher level.
Because it's just worse, right?
It's a higher level.
If a cop came up to me and was like, hey, man, we're investigating some angry looking pink dude in a blue shirt. You're going to need to stand right here.
Okay.
Whatever. We're here.
Okay.
But if he's like, yeah.
We have reasonable suspicion.
Yeah, we believe you were in Sacramento about 20 minutes ago committing a bank robbery. No, you don't. Right? Like that's when I'm going to get mad.
Yes. Okay.
What's happening? Who's calling me? They can wait.
So that's my question of how does the Fourth Amendment work with this, which is an incredibly weird line where I think...
I thought it worked, but now maybe I'm
states,
confused.
And there's always a balance. When these things are brought to the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, there's always a test. And the balance is, what is the state's interest? Do they have a legitimate, state interest that they have? And protecting people that might harm themselves.
This is probably going to be rational basis, won't it?
That's an important state purpose, right? Because suicide is unfortunately
I forget
at
the
a super high
constitutional
rate.
tests, though.
So it depends what level, right?
Right,
and you are violating. This would be altering a Fourth Amendment,
correct.
So that is a right for every citizen,
correct?
Or not a citizen.
Every human
within
territorial bounds of the United States
has a right against a search and a seizure, unless there's probable cause or warrant, whatever. So this is something that goes beyond that because now you're detaining a person, and possibly incarcerating, holding them for a finite amount of time.
Yeah.
And there is a purpose and there's a rational purpose. It's so that they don't, harm people, and that's legitimate. And I think most people can understand that. And have seen somebody that needs that.
That law is good in certain situations.
Yes. And
right? If you were going through a divorce and also our law firm fell through and you're off your rocker and you're like, Justin, I just can't take this anymore. I'm going to.
And you need 72 hours.
And you need some cool off time just to not do the thing. What is it? It's a permanent solution for a temporary problem.
There you go.
Right? To not do that.
So it is a big issue.
It's a huge issue.
It's a huge issue. But and sometimes we would create laws on the worst one. And this is probably the worst the worst showing I've seen
That's
of something
awful.
like this.
But any red flag law, which is essentially what this is,
Sure.
it's a human red flag law
Yeah.
saying like, and a red flag law, when I refer to that, I'm talking about guns. So basically the idea with most of those is that I could call in and say, it's the same thing, right? I could call the police and say, hey, Shane is exhibiting some behaviors. He's going through a lot right now. He's got guns. He's acting kind of threatening. I think his weapons just need to be taken from him for a little while so he can calm down and then he can give back to him. But it's the same thing. Like you need to be taken from yourself. You need to be detained and withheld to a point where you cannot harm yourself, right? And the crappy thing is that they're staying process to make the judicial determination to see if it's even warranted because it's such a potential immediate danger that the idea of the intrusion into the constitutional rights is outweighed by this particular exigent circumstance.
Right.
But again, in that video, there is no exigent. So it's possible that there is some and she's just putting on an act because the cops are there. Like maybe she is out of it, but the doctor also lied.
Yeah, and it could be...
And those other people lied. They're not with that crisis team. They're certainly with a security company.
And that could be a miscommunication. So, and that's why litigation exists, is sometimes, there's one side of a story and another side of a story, and the truth might be somewhere in between. It might be at one of the polar ends. Could be in the middle, but we need that.
Guy? The dude that first was like, oh, she's been acting crazy. She's coming here. I've got her coming here. I've got an air tag on her car. What?
Yeah. No, that's and this could be, who knows if this could be...
Better not air tag my car.
People could use this as some sort of relationship revenge, like ex-boyfriend or something like that. Yeah. That could be an aspect of it. They could fake a call and say, hey, this...
Well, her boyfriend's now her husband.
I know, but there could be an ex-boyfriend that sees the wedding coming. I don't know.
But that's the issue with red flag laws.
Yeah, is people could use those. So as long there should be a punishment for it, which hopefully it would outweigh.
They should create a special law, special crime for abusing red flag.
Sure, and that might be aspects of it.
Or abusing Baker Act process.
Yeah, and I don't know how Florida works. This just came out yesterday as we're recording, so May 28th. There's going to be a lawsuit that's going to unearth some things, right? You get subpoenas, you depose people and say, who told you? What phone number called you?
Listen,
who did you talk to? What did they say?
Why'd you put that air tag on her car?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear that.
There will be information that comes out, and this is a violation of someone's rights, like pretty clearly.
That's so bad.
If it is true, right?
It's so bad.
If it's true. So very interesting things going on. All right. Our last story I want to talk about before we get to our listener question is something I saw. Sometimes you see these like insane videos on TikTok that don't make any sense, but have some legal basis, and they have like fake videos and just like fake voiceovers that are AI.
Stupid ones where it's like the cop arresting the lawyer, and it's like, get out of here.
This
That's not
one
real.
can't be real. I'm like, there's no way this is real. And they have like clips in the video that aren't actually, and they don't represent that they are actually the clips. So it's like,
It's just clickbait. It's just rage clickbait. They're trying to get you mad.
So I was like, there's no way this is real.
Austin's mad.
Okay. So this TikTok comes up that I see.
You look mad, dude.
And says that
there you go.
A lifeguard in the state of Connecticut was charged with endangerment.
I sent you this one and I said I thought it was fake. I sent it on Instagram.
It is real. Okay.
What?
There was real criminal charges, the first time in the history of the United States that anybody has seen, of a lifeguard being charged for endangerment after saving the boy. Boy did not die.
Perfectly fine.
Boy is perfectly fine. This is a 23-year-old named Zachary Stein. Okay.
And
he saved a 5-year-old.
He was not on his phone.
Named Adam.
He was on his stand. He wasn't distracted.
He was not distracted.
He just couldn't see the kid.
Flirting with girls. He was not doing anything like that.
That's the real crime.
So for whatever reason, he gets charged with the crime. Okay. It made me think, why? Because typically you don't have a duty to save unless you're in a position, right?
Which a lifeguard is.
Which a lifeguard is in that position, but they are not infallible. And as we come up to pool season, I guess let's remind everyone, like, especially in Las Vegas, part of the problem of people not leaving kids in cars is they think that they would never do that and letting their kid die. That's another
attribute.
That's another problem with drowning. Drowning is incredibly silent. Like, it's incredibly quiet. Everybody thinks it'd be like a big show and somebody would be splashing around and you'd know, oh, I'm going to go there and save them.
Danger.
It is an incredibly quiet phenomenon.
Most of the time, yeah.
There was a couple years ago came out a video of a lady who died in Las Vegas Athletic Club pool, and there were people around, and they thought she was doing an exercise or something, but she was having an attack.
Not to me. She's like underwater. Like, what are you doing?
No, and she was looking like she's doing some kicking exercise there.
I'm sure.
So people can confuse this, and there's this idea out there that somebody would be flailing around like, I'm drowning, and yelling that they're drowning, where typically there's a pool of a ton of people, because swimming's a fun activity. It's nice to do on a hot summer day, especially with our 110, 120 degree weather.
Wear your sunblock, folks.
Wear your sunblock. Me and you need that. And there's a lot of kids swimming. And if you can just miss and somebody's, blocking your view.
It takes seconds.
And it takes seconds.
It takes this long. And you're done. You're out. You're not dead yet. Your brain's still alive, but you're not waking back up. You're going to sink until someone pulls you out of the water and performs life-saving measures on you to get that water out of your lungs and oxygen back into them.
Yeah. So he had even been a lifeguard for 5 years. Okay.
Yeah. He wasn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
I saw that, and at first when I sent it,
I thought it was fake too.
I had to unsend it and then resend and say, "Is this fake?" Because it seems crazy. Because some of the video of it is obviously BS, but it's also when they start describing the story, I'm like, "There's no way anyone would ever get charges for that." He's sitting in his lifeguard stand, watching these kids. The only argument they had was that there were too many kids in the pool per lifeguard. I heard something about it's got to be 8 in the pool per lifeguard or something like that. It's a supervision rate.
Okay.
But even so, that's kind of not his fault, right? I'm assuming it's not his pool.
No, he's working at a community pool.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe the community organizer is the low level.
He got his felony charge removed.
Good.
Looks like he pled to some kind of misdemeanor, and he can't work as a lifeguard anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, he should get a medal for saving that kid.
He wasn't following his scanning protocol. Which I understand a lot, because you got to scan, visually your eyes, certain.
Oh, he wasn't looking where he's supposed to?
That's the accusation,
Obviously he was.
That's the accusation.
You know how I know he was? Because the kid didn't die. He just didn't notice it right away. Oh, he didn't scan fast enough? Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So super interesting that this is. We're coming up to pool season, that this is even a thing.
The other thing, and you touched on it, is that pools are incredibly dangerous. I just spent $3,000 on my pool to put a fence around it. It's a nice fence. I went the extra mile to get higher gates to make sure the gate is locking. It's hard to get into without the key. You can get into it if you needed to.
Yeah.
Which is a safety measure in case a kid climbs through it.
Kids, animals, dogs.
Anything gets in there, I can get in that pool quick if I really, really need to. Right? I don't have to run back into my house, grab the key, find it. Especially if the nanny was there or something, she's going to panic, right? I'm just going to run through that thing. I'm going to split it apart, get my kid out. But the point is, I spent that money, even though my kid's never going to be out there unsupervised. It will not happen. He has never once been outside unsupervised. But the one day that he is,
yeah, sure,
I would never forgive myself. And also now I have the peace of mind knowing that, and I don't think any of my neighbors have little kids, but there is an Airbnb right next door. Not in use very often, but occasionally. Really? Yeah, the house to the Home Depot side, you're heading west.
Yeah.
That's an Airbnb.
Okay. I know your other neighbor. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course you know. He's doing the Lord's work. He's always trying to convert me. I keep telling him no. I'm going to get you. Very, very nice.
He's a nice guy.
No, he's a super sweet guy. And actually, he helped save my kid the other day. Not save.
You told me about
because my kid gets locked in the backyard with the nanny, and my stupid ass, because I enjoy security, put a padlock on the gate. Nanny's stuff was inside the house, so she wouldn't have been able to get anyway, but she couldn't get out of the backyard. He just happened to be walking by, and this is 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm already been at work for a while, and he calls me, "Hey, your nanny's locked in your backyard." That's why I sent Gladys with a key.
Yeah.
Just a dumb sort of thing. But anyway, the point of this is these kind of things, you got to keep them in the front of your mind, and you got to take precautions because they're so preventable and they're so fast.
I agree with you.
It's like having a balcony and not having a railing on it if you have a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
How fast does gravity work? From what I recall, it's 9.8 meters a second squared, which is a shitload faster than I can run. Sorry, Mr. Cox.
And I know,
I can't fly. So.
I know you hate whenever states make or cities or municipalities make regulations, but now when you build pools here in Las Vegas, there are so many safety regulations that weren't in place before. Have to have a fence, have to maybe have like a beep on your back door so that when you open the back door, you know somebody's going outside. Yeah. There's just more regulations, which their intention is safety. Like it's not like it's a bad intention, but it costs money.
My issue is like I am choosing to do that because I want to.
I understand there is a distinction there for you.
And I think that that's important. I don't think it's the state's job to protect me. So the other thing I was going to say, I kind of got sporadic because when I get emotional about things or think about things like too hard, I get kind of off base.
Really?
No, shut up. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody. Your job.
We got David Goggins as a guest on our show. Isn't that it?
Can we?
Is that a famous quote from him?
I thought
nobody is coming to save you.
I thought it was who's going to carry the boats.
Oh, who says nobody's going to save you?
A ton of people because it's the truth. Right? Like what's the 911 response time in Vegas?
Oh, 18 minutes? What? I don't know.
At best, 6.5 minutes. Okay.
I was closer.
The fastest is 6.5 minutes in the city, let's say anywhere.
Sure.
In Clark County. What is the feet per second time on my 9mm? 1,200. It's a little over 1,100. So it's a little bit faster than the speed of sound. Or sorry, the speed of sound. Because it's feet per second. So that's why you hear the crack. No one's coming. That phone call takes 6.5 minutes at best. That 147 grand hollow
We're
point.
definitely getting off the legal train here.
You get the point, right?
I understand what you're saying.
The same concept applies to all these situations.
Be responsible for yourself.
Be responsible for yourself, but more importantly,
you're gonna have issues.
Be responsible for other people when you can protect them. Children especially.
Yes.
Animals especially. Things that cannot appreciate danger.
Things within your purview.
Correct.
And that goes back to the lifeguard. You know, he takes on this job. And as I was growing up, I had friends that were lifeguards, and I knew that they made more money. I worked at the rec center.
Did y'all think they were super cool? Because they're always out there.
Not really. I didn't really feel that way.
I always thought the lifeguards were cool.
No, I was just indoors in the rec center.
I always had the hall A and stuff. I could never get those jobs.
And I don't know. I just didn't intrigue me. But they get paid more, and there's a reason, I guess. You know, like you have that responsibility on you.
But that's the other
thing.
the
criminal charges of somebody who does save somebody is not goofing off. Like that's the weird part. So I don't know if the victim's family, the purported victim's family, is
he was a drowning
influential.
Victim. He did drown. He just wasn't a dying victim.
Yeah.
Because this 22-year-old that saved his life.
Yeah. And then gets sued over it and has criminal charges against him.
And that place probably got sued too. I bet you if you looked
100%.
it up.
Yeah. No, they did. There's civil charges.
And here's the other thing that I thought about after you said what you just said. If everybody behaved the way that I'm taking this, like with the level of seriousness once my kid can walk and stuff, you wouldn't need municipalities to set these rules.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm being civically responsible for my section of existence to make sure that this is not going to be a problem for mine or yours.
I mean, I can tell you taking 5 kids to a pool is a stressful situation.
No
like
shit.
5 kids.
Also, it's like you got to worry now about the kids getting napped. Like, because you're watching the unruly one that is your least favorite. Not going to say who that is.
There's no such thing.
I'm kidding.
No such thing.
I'm kidding. He loves them all equally.
I do.
And then the good one is being quiet and nice while you're dealing with the unruly one. They're gone. That's another problem I wouldn't want to deal with. That's why I'm only having one.
Yeah, I can understand that. And you put some kind of flotation device on the one. We have a rule like if you're in that fence, you got your flotation, floaty 100%. Thing on like the whole time.
Just got
Does
Bobby
not come off.
A little baby life jacket.
Oh, fun.
So he wants to get in there, which I've been trying to drag him in the pool with me.
And the ones they have now are like way better and safer. Like, way
you
different.
Drop him in there and he just sits like this.
Like we had those things that you blew up on your arms, like when we were kids.
No, I had the life jacket that like
you try to get them under, and their
get
heads
on
just
and it just holds your head up, and you're like.
Yeah.
So it's like strangling you a little bit as it's keeping you out of the water. How did he die? Asphyxiation.
Oh, he on the water, you know, he's suffocated in the water.
David Carradine himself.
No, the flotation device got him.
You know, in the garage, or not the garage, the closet in the pool. Wow. But yeah, if everybody would just be a little bit more civically responsible, which includes their own responsibility inside their household, then some of these things wouldn't be necessary. And there'd probably a lot less dead kids.
It's true. That's true. But we're the government. We're here to help.
No. Remember Ruby Ridge.
Listener question. Are deep fake videos illegal? I think this is from Austin.
They what?
Are deep fake videos illegal? You know what deep fake videos are?
Yeah, no, they're not illegal.
They can't
I mean, they potentially could be.
Could be used
like in and of
illegally.
themselves are deep fake videos. No, you can make them.
Yes. As long as every state has like a fraud. But and you could use deep fake videos for fraud purposes. And the fraud is a lie. Okay.
Is that always illegal? Shane?
Is
fraud always illegal?
No. Intending to take somebody's money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I saw a video.
Like when someone uses your services with a credit card and then does a chargeback?
That is a fraud. Yes.
Oh, is that actually illegal in the state of Nevada?
It should be, but I
Does
know
it get
you have some
prosecuted?
experience with this.
No, it doesn't. It's called friendly fraud. If you want to get disgusted and angry, look up the word friendly fraud. It's a $1 billion industry.
Okay.
The point is,
take cash next time, I guess.
Yeah. Don't use Amex.
So deep fake videos are not illegal in of themselves.
Correct.
But there could be
legal implications depending upon
how you use
subject
them.
matter. Yeah.
And if you're using a video, and a lot of these people use deep fake videos to create like a fake celebrity that somebody thinks they have an online relationship with and send them money, that is fraud.
Hey,
that is a crime.
It's Donald Trump. I need $50.
Or
I got locked out of the White House.
Or
your grandma
thinks that she's dating Owen Wilson, and there's this, like fake Owen Wilson videos.
Man, if my grandma was alive, I'm sure she'd date Owen Wilson.
You got a grandma alive, don't you?
Step grandma.
Oh, okay.
Grandma Barbara, shout out.
Shout out.
I'll be seeing her next weekend.
Hooray. Hooray for Kansas. So
best state in the union.
Does that answer your question, Austin?
Well, kind of not.
You kept seeing that question
Because
online.
there's all these deep fakes where it's like, I think Rogan talked about it on one of his episodes where he's like, oh yeah, I got sent this video of me. It's just the audio of him, but it's the audio of him endorsing some product. He's like, I don't know what that is. I've never endorsed that. And so the real issue I think you're going to get into is, again, that's why I said, oh, is it illegal? Because what they're going to do is they're going to say it's a civil matter. And so then Rogan's just got to sue, Brita or whoever that's right in the ground, sue them in England. But I don't think you're actually going to end up with a whole lot of criminal liability unless they're doing something where they're using AI to make deep fakes where it's like, and this is just the first place that I could think of videos being used against people that are very illegal. It's when they do like revenge porn.
Yeah.
Right? So if someone made a porno of me and you.
That's an example.
And they go to distribute it. And
oh my goodness, the clicks that would
get. The first thing I would ask is, wait, where was the camera and why did you,
where's our cut?
Yeah, give me my money. If we're gonna make an OnlyFans account, I better if I'm the subject matter, dude.
Oh, gross. Yeah.
I see me as the top. That's all I'm saying.
I don't even want to entertain this. Thank you for listening to Tangled Rights. You know that we talk about some irreverent things sometimes. Thank you for being here with us. We love you so much. That's weird. I'm sorry.
I thought this was just physical, and now we're getting all emotional.
It is what it is. Thanks for listening. If you have some legal questions,
send them to us.
Drop them in the comments. We're
get
here.
in on our drawings, dude. How many entries did we have?
Not enough. Like only
and
like
most of them are
30 or
just
40.
your homies, so it's going to look like Shane just picked.
Your homies. It was Franny. Franny was our big winner. He won the AirPods Max.
He doesn't want to be on the show.
He does. Yeah, he picked AirPod Maxes over. My friend
Has he
Gary.
seen our show, and that's why he doesn't want to be on it?
My friend Gary's going to be on our show.
Oh, of course. That's why he doesn't want to be on it.
My friend Gary's going to be on our show, though.
Hell yeah, Gary.
So we'll have to figure out what topics that we have.
We
for
have
him.
Apple products.
Yeah, we do. All right, guys. Take care.
Roka
Peace.
sunglasses also. Shout out. Not sponsored, but would love it.
Peace.
Bye.